So what is DR stands for is, it is designated router. Now, out of these three routers, when, see, if there's only one point to go out, only one router is responsible, fine. But when there are multiple routers that can do the same role, I want to choose one as the representative for this entire network. So that router is called as the designated router, and the other router, which is its subordinate, is called as the backup DR, or the backup designated router. So this election takes place. Okay. Now, how DR-BDR election takes place? So for DR-BDR election, what is considered is, first preference is given to the ospf interface priority. Which interface? Router may be connected to many interfaces, but we will consider the interface that it is connecting to this LAN. The fast Ethernet 0/0 of all these routers will be, by default, the default priority is 1. You can extend it anything between 0 to 255. 0 to 255 or 1 to 255. Maybe it is 1 to 255, I guess. Let me check, okay, while doing the configuration. So that's the range. So router with the highest priority, the router with highest priority will be elected as the DR, and the router with the second highest priority becomes the BDR. Now, in case if you have not changed the priority and all the routers are with the default priority, then router with, okay, the first preference actually goes to the booting process, the one that booted first. So whichever router that has booted first, either the booting or the process, ospf process has started first, so that router will become the DR. In case, means when the, let's suppose one router has come up, it is already booted and there are no other ospf routers that have booted yet, so whichever router that boots up first, okay, will take the DR role. In case there is no other router to participate in the election, means he is alone running in the race, okay, so he will only win. In case if multiple routers are booting at the same time, the next thing it will consider is the priority. In the routers, this interface priority that is connected to this multi-access network will be considered. Okay, so third preference goes to the RID, the router with highest RID. In case if priority is also same and all have booted at the same time, then the router with the highest RID becomes the DR. Okay, yeah. Done? Yes. Yes, guys, done. Shall I remove this? Okay. Now you'll do a simple scenario where you will have a switch and three routers, R1, R2, and R3. And I will take it as 10.0.0.0/8 network. All will be on area 0. Okay, router 1 will have a loopback 1.1.1.1. R2 will have loopback 2.2.2.2. I need to see that they are able to do the routing, right? So 3.3.3.3, these are the loopbacks. So this is 10.1, this is 10.2 and 10.3. By default, you do this configuration and then reboot all the three routers at the same time. What do you do in packet tracer? Save the scenario, save the configuration, and then when you open the scenario, okay, close the scenario and open again, or you go to here, packet tracer, file and then open. Okay, so it will go to the, when you open the same file again, all routers will boot at the same time. Okay, that is one thing that you can do. If you go to physical tab and manually you boot one by one, so whichever boots up first, that will take up the DR role. So if you want a fair election between all the three routers, you'll have to reopen the scenario. But before opening the scenario, make sure that you have saved the scenario and all the routers configuration also. Clear? Okay. So do that. Then configuration. Now, first you run this without the configuration. Okay. See who gets elected, because all routers will have a default priority of 1. So every router will have a default priority of 1. So the router with the highest RID. Now the router, this router will have the highest RID because your loopback interface will become the RID. Correct? There is no manual. Second preference will be given to loopback. So based on the loopback IP address, this router has the highest RID. So R3 should be the DR and R2 should be the BDR. Now after this, go ahead and do the configuration. Okay. Configuration syntax. So you'll go on to every router's configuration mode inside the interface. Fast Ethernet 0/0. I'm just giving an example in case if all these are fast Ethernet 0/0. So all these three interfaces, you will go inside and you will set the IP, ospf, priority. Okay, and you will choose from 1 to 255. Router with highest priority becomes the DR. Okay, so now in case if I want R1 to become the DR, I'll set it as 200. Okay, so this router I want to make BDR, so I will put it to 150. And this router, if you want, you can change or you can leave it to 1. So if I set it to 100, so based on the new priorities, save the configuration and then reopen the scenario again. So fair election happens. Now R1 should become the DR, R3 should be the BDR, and R2 should go on to DR other state. See, DR will be elected, BDR will be elected, then the other routers will be on DR other state. Means if you have more routers also, all will go into DR other state. Means these are the routers that will take up the next roles. In case if DR fails, then BDR becomes the DR and one of this DR other routers becomes the BDR. Okay. If BDR fails, then one of this router will be elected as the BDR. So they are in the election. They are still in the election. Okay. Clear? They are waiting to take up the role if in case it works. And also what you can do is you can shut this interface down for a router, whoever is elected as the DR, and restart the scenario and check if the election happens again. Okay, if the DR goes down, will the election take place or not? So like this, you can try and test it, but make sure that all this today's configuration also, ospf scenario also, and this scenario also, copy paste the show run for all the routers. Okay, and show run and show IP route. Show run for R1. Okay, and then show IP route for the same router. Okay, and then go to R2. Like this, you have to put it in the notepad one by one and then send it. I will check your configuration. Okay. Do for the previous scenario also. Previous scenario, all the 7 routers. Okay. Configuration I want. And here all the 3 routers. If you want to go with 3 or 4, your choice. Okay. Done. Any doubts or queries?
Okay. Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
the DR and BDR which has been elected can be which has to be find in run command, ma'am.
No. So, okay, verification commands I didn't give, right?
Yeah.
Verification commands. Anyways, you will do the show IP route and all to check. So, all that you know. So, this is for show IP ospf interface fast Ethernet 0/0. You have to copy this if you want to run immediately and check. It will be in the waiting state first. Means as soon as you boot the routers, before the ospf neighborship has established, if you run this command, you will see that the state will be there. There'll be a option called a state in the third or the fifth line probably. So there it will show waiting because the election is still happening. Then it will show DR, BDR, and so on. Wait, I'll show you. I guess I have a scenario for this. I deleted all my scenario. It cleared my online storage. Was with the whole OS with Laravel. Yeah. Here it is. So when you go into the router, CLI tab, enable show IP ospf interface fast Ethernet 0/0. Can you see the state here? It is in waiting state. Okay. And priority set to 200. So this will become the DR probably. Hold on. On the interface fast Ethernet 0/0, IP ospf priority, and you'll set the priority. Either as soon as the neighborship is up, it will show the result. Okay, so this is elected as the DR because priority is 200. Other two devices, so this one I check with this device, enable, so IP ospf interface fast Ethernet 0/0. This router is the BDR with 150. Okay, and third router, the ospf interface fast Ethernet 0/0. And this is DR other
ospf
because
adjacency
priority is
state
100.
machine part
So
1.
all the routers after this will be the DR other. And every router will know who is the DR and who is the BDR. It's RID. Every router will know, and hello packets will be shared only with the DR. Means it will establish neighborship with the DR. Okay, DR and the BDR. If you want, you can add one more router and check what is the behavior. Okay. Yeah. Any doubts? Any queries?
OSPF Multi-Area Lab Demo Part 1.
Area 1 will also have this LAN network of R2. See, in the will be in the regular areas. Have a network address, it should have a broadcast address,
Any
and it
doubts?
should have at
Any
least one
questions?
managed IP address. But here it's not there. It is called as the host network, where you have only
Do
one
with 4
single
routers and
IP
check.
address. Why it is?
R4 will
Because
establish
I
neighborship
want
with the DR
that
other
one is
router or not.
there. Okay.
Okay. Then
So
tomorrow we
let
will
me
discuss about how neighborship takes place
R2 now.
between two OSPF routers.
Can there be
Okay, what are the
steps?
different
Go and
steps?
give the network.
So tomorrow we will discuss
I'm in
about
area
OSPF
0,
packet
right?
types,
I'm in
LSA
area.
types. It will be almost theory. Okay, so these are the two labs. Finish these two labs. Then OSPF authentication and summarization is there that we will do. Okay, after discussing all the other theory concepts. Yeah. Any doubts, anyone? Guys, any doubts? No? All of you were able to do the lab, today's lab? No issues, right? If you have any issues, please let me know. I'll demonstrate once more. Okay? Let me know tomorrow if you want me to do the lab. I'll do the lab and show it to you. Yeah? Fine. You guys can leave for the day.